Maria told me about Sarah.
Ellie?
And
You are treading on some mighty thin ice here.
I'm sorry about your daughter, Joel. But I have lost people too.
You have no idea what loss is.
Everyone I have cared for has either died or left me. Everyone fucking except for you. So don't tell me that I would be safer with someone else, because the truth is I would just be more scared.
You're right. You're not my daughter. And I sure as hell ain't your dad. And we are going our separate ways.
Get it together. We're not alone.
I got two walking in.
There's more inside already.
And that scene, ladies and gentlemen, is The Last of Us. Well, at least to me. That scene right there you just saw is exactly what The Last of Us is. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Better late than never gaming. Let's talk gaming. The Last of Us was never about the gameplay or graphics, let's be honest. It was about the story, right? It was about the story. Let's not lie to ourselves. I'm not going to lie to myself. Well, I only can speak for myself. Maybe it was the gameplay or the graphics for you guys or certain individuals. But for me, it really wasn't that. So on that note, the question is, what would The Last of Us be without the story? In my opinion, it would just be another pretty graphical game with nothing out of this world groundbreaking gameplay. You know, nothing, the gameplay wasn't holding it up, right? So it would just be another pretty graphical game with decent gameplay. Even though the story carries the game, it's not all that original or groundbreaking, to be honest. What makes the story unique isn't the infected, the desolate cities, or anything related to that. It's the relationship between two individuals who go through hell, and I mean hell. They go through hell together and end up knowing one another on a deeper level because of it. That's the beauty of The Last of Us. Again, at least in my opinion. Naughty Dog is a company, of course, they are known for their graphical genius, right? So the game is pretty. It came out on its last leg of the PS3 and it really pushed it to its limits. So when The Last of Us 3 came out, yes indeed, or The Last of Us 3, wow. Not The Last of Us 3. When the first Last of Us came out on the PS3, right, it was beautiful. So the graphics were on point. Again, the gameplay was not bad. It wasn't something that kept the game up. It was the story, man. It was a story, right? Ellie and Joel carried the freaking story. And on top of that, they had a lot of side characters as well that you ran into that made the story even more interesting, right? That's what made me fall in love with The Last of Us. Now, the banter is what really sells the game for me. Like, really sells the game is the banter between Joel and Ellie. These two characters uphold the game, but without their back and forth, without their deep conversation and their conflict with one another, but coming together, the game will fall apart. Just like this scene right here.
Oh, creepy. Guess they took the easy way out, huh?
It ain't easy. A lot of people is better than letting 100 infected do it for them. Trust me, it ain't easy.
Could you imagine just...
Happy birthday, kiddo.
What is this?
This is a thing that took a mighty effort to find. Take it. Close your eyes. It'll be worth it.
Okay.
30 seconds and counting. Astronauts report it feels good. T-minus 25 seconds. 20 seconds and counting. T-minus 15 seconds. Guidance is internal. 12, 11, 10, 9. Ignition sequence start. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. All engine running. Liftoff. We have a liftoff. 32 minutes past the hour. Liftoff on Apollo 11.
I do okay.
Are you fucking kidding me?
I woke up in the morning about 9:30. Hacks in the buggy standing in line. Jets and gamers standing around.
Now, moving on. To revert back to the beginning of the video, right, when I said that that conversation that Ellie and Joel had, and I was like, oh man, that's The Last of Us to me, right? That's what describes The Last of Us. That's what The Last of Us is. Moving on to The Last of Us Part 2, and we just saw that other scene a minute ago with young Ellie and Joel with the whole rocket ship situation / scene. Again, that's The Last of Us, right? That first scene with Ellie and Joel, that was The Last of Us Part 1, and that scene right there is The Last of Us Part 2, at least to me. And the difference is that scene in The Last of Us Part 2 with the whole rocket ship situation, that's all you get in The Last of Us Part 2, and that's where the problems lie, in my opinion. This game just dropped not too long ago, and yeah, unless you've been living under a rock and you don't play video games that much, or you really just don't care about this franchise, you probably heard the back and forth when it comes to this freaking game. All right, it's getting perfect scores over here, and it's getting terrible, just disgusting scores over there. There's nothing really in the middle, right? Now for me, I don't really give a crap about any of that. This is just my opinion and how I feel. Now I'm more on the side of disappointment. All right, I'm not riding a bandwagon. I'm not doing any of that. Like I said, I'm not the biggest fan of The Last of Us, but I'm a freaking fan. And I was in the boat of when The Last of Us 1 ended. I thought it was one of the best endings to a video game ever. Like, it was one of the best endings because it left you with so much to think about, right? It left you with so much to thinking about, and it was just so satisfying. Like, it was perfect. They did not need to make a part 2. But when they announced The Last of Us Part 2, of course I was happy. I was kind of skeptical because I was like, what the hell are they gonna do? What can they add to already a perfect game? You know, but I was up for it, and I believed in Naughty Dog. And unfortunately, like a lot of people, I'm disappointed, man. And again, the story. Just like I said, The Last of Us is not a franchise that's about its gameplay or its graphics, even though both those things are pretty good. The graphics are phenomenal. You see what's going on in The Last of Us Part 2. The graphics are stupid good. The gameplay, yeah, it's kind of like The Last of Us 1, but it's not bad. So it's nice. But again, the story and the graphics don't do a damn thing. It doesn't do anything for this franchise without the story. It's the story. Again, it would just be a pretty game with decent gameplay if it wasn't for the story. I don't know what the hell Naughty Dog was thinking. I don't know what Neil Druckmann was thinking. I'm not here to bash anyone, but man, was this one of the biggest disappointments. This was my number 2, almost number 1 most anticipated game behind Final Fantasy VII. It was Final Fantasy VII Remake, The Last of Us Part 2, and Cyberpunk 2077. And Ghost of Tsushima, of course. Those games. This game just bombed to me. Right? Like, it took away what made The Last of Us so good. Like, none of it made sense. Right? I'm not really going to get into spoilers. Well, spoiler alert. Who cares? Alright, I gave you the warning. Here's a spoiler. Obviously, Joel dies. I'm not tripping that Joel died. I'm not tripping. It sucks. I was kind of expecting it. But again, it's the way he died. Joel is just... The characters in his game are not who they are. Joel doesn't seem like he's Joel. They seem like different characters. I don't even think this game without the title is The Last of Us. Ellie's not Ellie. Joel's not Joel. Tommy is not Tommy. They're more stupid. If you think about it, Joel got himself in that situation to get killed the way he was killed off. Then you got to play as this character, Abby. I'm not really hating on her, but she's a weird character to me. I don't know how the hell she's so swole in the first place. She is a swole ass female. I'm not saying females can't get swole, but it's the apocalypse. Where is she finding this creatine and these dumbbells to be that swole during the apocalypse, dude? Anyways, you kill Joel in the most brutal way. You play as Abby, and it's just this revenge story that has no depth. It has absolutely no depth. I'm so disappointed, man. It's like, I don't know. You gotta fail sometimes in order to succeed. So other game developers are gonna see this and be like, "Hey, this is not the way to go when we make a sequel." And I hope Naughty Dog and Neil Druckmann learn that as well. Like, this is not the way to go. You know, Naughty Dog has a good track record of game after game after game being fantastic, and nobody's perfect. Sometimes you're gonna fall. So this actually could be a good thing, right? They messed up with The Last of Us Part 2 in my opinion, and maybe they're gonna take a lesson from this. Hopefully, if they put their pride down, they're gonna take a lesson from this and make a better game in the future. And again, other companies are gonna follow suit. That this is not the way you go. Like, I have no problem with changing the story and developing characters in a different way, but this, The Last of Us, just went far right. They just went so far. Like, the game is not recognizable. Again, Joel is not Joel, Ellie's not Ellie. I don't get it. Nothing makes sense. Nothing makes sense. And I swear I'm not that dude. I don't want to sound like that dude that's like, "Oh my god, the story, blah blah blah, how could you?" It's like, it is what it is. I don't care, bro. Just make the game fun. Make the story decent, right? I don't really complain too much. Like, "Oh my god, the graphics are terrible, the gameplay, blah, blah, blah. How could you do this? How could you kill this character?" It's like, it is what it is. I'm not really tripping. So when I trip and I feel bad, I know they messed up. Because again, I'm not that type of person to trip about little things. But they totally took this game, tore it down, and it's the story, right? So if your game is living off the story better be on point. It has to be on point, man. I'm just, this is the last video I'm going to make about The Last of Us. I'm not going to keep going back and forth. It is what it is. Again, I hope Naughty Dog learned their lesson. Hope Sony learned their lesson. I don't know who the hell approved this. Who approved of this game? How did Sony let this release? Holy crap, man. If you're enjoying the game, that's cool. Keep enjoying it. Much love. Peace.
Don't scream. Put that shit down. You remember me? Yeah. You remember me.